So now we're living a double. Now she's living a double life because she's talking to me, but she's talking to that person as well. Brought that person into our home and did things with this person in our home. And I didn't find out because I was at work. I didn't find out until literally after, when she told me that she had to go. She packed all her stuff and they were gone. I came home to an empty house. Everything that she took, everything that she brought into the house, she took. And some. And I couldn't go back home. I couldn't go back to my aunt's house because she told me there's no revolving door. So I left. During that time, I was homeless. I was sleeping in my my guy best friend's car. He would sneak me in his he slept in the basement. So he would sneak me into the basement door so that I could at least stretch my legs some nights. To take a shower, I would literally have to like go to a sink to take a shower. It was times where if nobody was home, he would sneak me into the house so I could take a shower, so I can actually take an actual shower. But majority of the time, I was washing up. And I couldn't go back to my aunt's house at this time because some false news was put out and it caused friction between me, my aunt, and my uncle. And we couldn't, there was no, the love was gone. The connection was gone. Everything was done. She didn't trust me anymore. He didn't trust me anymore. Based off of news that nobody asked me. Nobody asked me what happened. So I'm stuck. But I did gain trust in God. Because at that point, I'm like, God, I don't talk to you. I have never talked to you. For real. You know, you took some very important people from my life who were my support. So I was mad at him. And I didn't understand what I was being instilled about God at a very young age. So at that point, I'm like, shoot, I don't know who you are, but I'm gonna talk to you because I'm in a place of need. I need you. So I started my journey of understanding who God was. I started praying, talking to him. I don't know how to, I know how to pray when I'm praying for somebody else, but I don't know how to pray when I'm praying for myself, but I do know how to talk. So I started talking to him when I was by myself. And then I would ask my guy best friend to, I would be like, hey, can we go on a drive? He would drive, I would sit in the other seat, and we'll just play gospel music the whole time. And I would cry my eyes out. And still to this day, I have so much respect and love for my guy best friend, Rashad, because without him, I would have been lost my life. But he came in, he stepped in, and he changed my life. He became my financial stability. He became my protection, my support, my love. He became all of that. And I would never, ever, ever forget him because of that, because he did it all. He did it all. Came down to food. There was times where he would just eat Cheez-Its just so that I could eat. Just so I could eat. because he wanted to make sure I ate. He wanted to make sure that I was good. And then to the point to where, like, I started to work, so then I started to take care of us. But he told me to just pray. He said, partner, pray. Because that's what he calls me and our third best friend, he calls us his partners. So he'd be like, partner, pray, or be like, Yanni, pray. And I didn't know how to again, so I just be like, okay. So I started talking. And he started taking me to his church, because again, I was not talking to my aunt and uncle. So I didn't have the spiritual part in me. So he started taking me to his church, and then I felt judged, based off of certain things that the pastor was saying at that moment. And then I felt judged, because his mother judged me, his friends judged me, thought that I was using him and everything. So it was a lot. Like, I never caught a break. So I reached my breaking point, and I had to figure out who God was. I didn't fully give myself up to God until last year, when enough was enough for me. I couldn't continue to keep going. So I walked up. I found a church, which is Tabernacle Baptist Church, downtown Augusta. And I became one with them. I started listening to the pastor. His name is PG, Pastor Goodman. I connected with him. I saw how everybody around me wore jeans. Everyone around me wore hoodies. Some wore hoodies. It wasn't a dress to impress. It was come as you are. So I became that. And I started standing up in church. Never did that before. Started standing up in church. Started to feel the words that was being said to me. At that point, I'm like, okay, I hear you. Because he's telling me things. Everything that I prayed for, he's telling me through my pastor. So I'm like, okay, I hear you. I'm listening to you. I'm falling more and more in love with God. I'm falling more and more in love with myself. God started showing up in ways that I never would have thought, could happen for me. And it became a place in my life that was great. It was a great feeling. So I started to just listen to gospel music or instrumentals, and started to change how I talk. But I would still talk negative, and I would still think negative, and I wasn't fully there, but I would still try. I was trying at this point. I was in my trial era. Then, towards the end of the year, I went to church for New Year's. 2 years in a row, I did church for New Year's. So last year I did church for New Year's. This year I did church for New Year's. Instead of going out, I did church. And I started to come to a tradition to go to church before I went out. And some days I didn't even go out. I just went to church. And I became close So this year, I did my walk of faith. And I walked and I gave myself to Christ on my own. I learned on my own. It wasn't the person that my family taught me about or who they instilled into me. It was who I figured out who God was for myself. And I did some homework. Okay, I did homework. I dibbled and dabbled in different religions to really understand the ins and outs about God. And what religion was best for me. And I won't say that I have a religion, but I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. I don't put myself in a category because that's another conversation, but I don't put myself in a category. I believe I'm just me. And I also had to look at myself in that way, like, all these years, I was such an outcast because God knew that I was stronger than everyone else around me. He knew that no matter, after everything everything that was happening to me, being raped, being bullied, being jumped, dealing with the abandonment, dealing with the depression, dealing with the mental abuse, dealing with the physical abuse, dealing with the emotional abuse, the words, dealing with all of this stuff at a very young age, dealing with everything at a very young age. He knew that the only reason why he could put all that on me is because he knew I was going to come out of it. He knew I was going to be who I am today. He wasn't slow. He knew. And I grew a bond with him. I grew to love him. I grew to want him, to crave him, to talk to him. So when I feel lonely, I go to him. And it became a lot. It became a lot for me. So when I took that walk of faith, it was the best day of my life. I would never take that day away because I felt the closest to myself, the new version of me, to God than I've ever felt in my entire life. And I grew up in the church. We had no choice but to go to church. But I felt the closest to him during that time. So I say all of this to say, just because you have dealt a big one in life does not mean that you cannot still succeed and grow and become something that God is telling you that you are supposed to become. We're all destined for something. We're all here for something. Don't lose hope in trying to figure out what that something is. Again, I'm 28 years old. Turn 28 tomorrow. Well, when you see it, it'll be today. And I just figured out a little bit on what I'm supposed to do. I don't know fully, but I just figured it out. Again, I'm 28. It don't take time. It's not a time limit on figuring out yourself, because I promise you, you're going to be here until God is ready for you to go. And at that time, is he ready for you to go? It just means that y'all got something. You know what I mean? You and God got something going on. It's your time. It's your time to leave. That's the only way. But that means that you served your purpose here already. And now it's time for God to just remove you away. Trust God. Follow and believe in what he is saying. Allow him to navigate you. Use him as if he is your GPS. God, I don't know which way to turn. Sometimes I literally hop in my car without a destination. I just drive. I fill up my tank and I just drive. And I literally allow God to guide me in whatever direction I'm supposed to go. Take this turn. Take that turn. Go straight. And everything. And every single time I do that, I always find my way back home. I just follow in God. I'm one with him now. I'm connected to him. And now I just bought a ring for myself. It's an engagement ring that is going to allow me to, it's a promise to myself. It's a vow to myself to not allow just anybody to have me. Trust God. Believe in God. Stay focused. He's not going to steer you the wrong way. Only way that you will be steered the wrong way is if you stop listening to what he is saying and start to listen to what the devil is telling you to go, how he's telling you to move. If God is telling you quit that job and focus on what's in front of you, then do it. Pray about it. Pray about it, but do it. Again, he's not going to steer you wrong. That stuff that you're manifesting, he ain't going to steer you wrong. If you've been asking for it, you've been doing what you're supposed to do to get it, he ain't going to steer you wrong. Trust it. Woo! That was a lot, y'all. That was a lot. We are at the end of the video. And I just thank you so much for, if you are literally sitting here through this whole video, I thank you so much for just listening to my story and hearing it out, because I promise to you, I wouldn't have been able to do any of this if it wasn't for the confidence, the love, the support that I have created for myself. So thank you for allowing me to just feel like myself. There's no better love in this world than that. Y'all have a great one. Stay blessed on this Tuesday. And happy birthday to me. I love you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Turn on your post notifications so you don't miss the video. Again, videos will drop on Tuesdays and Fridays. So this will be dropped Tuesday. Then the next one will be dropped on Friday at 7 p.m. You'll see this one. Yeah, you'll see this on 7 p.m. on Tuesday. So just be aware. Watch out for it. I love you guys. Stay blessed. Stay humbled. Follow in God's footsteps for you. What he has for you is for you. Trust and believe what he is showing you. Do not second guess what he is telling you. Because I promise to you, what he's telling you, you need to hear. I love y'all. Stay blessed.